All right, guys, I bought another comic book collection, and this is the perfect collection to buy if you're just starting out. All right, guys, we're going to get into this collection. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk values. How much did I pay? What I'm expecting back. We're going to go through nearly this entire short box. All these books in this short box were the books worth pulling out. The reason I'm doing this is because this collection is the perfect example of what I was buying when I first started doing this. So before we get into everything, of course, you know the drill by now. Hit that subscription button, hit that thumbs up if you enjoy the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, and we're going to get into the comments later because I do want to talk about that. I'm going to want to hear from you. And of course, give me a follow, TikTok, Instagram, whatnot. A lot of these books are going to end up on there in auctions. VERYGARY_comics across all social media platforms. With whatnot, there is a link down in the description to download the app, free app to download. It's like an auction app. Think of the live auctions in an app form. So without further ado, quickly, this guy reached out to me through my website, actually. He kept some stuff for himself, so he's still staying within the hobby, which is always great. I always like to hear that. But he just liquidated the stuff he wasn't interested in. And like I've been saying on my channel, and I say it all the time, let the hobby pay for itself. So he sold a whole bunch of the stuff that he didn't want anything to do with. He's going to take the money, turn around, and put it back towards his personal collection. So all that. And again, this is the perfect example of how I started, a perfect example of the type of collection that I was buying in the very beginning. Guys, I started doing this with $400. That's it, $400. So we're going to get into this, get into values, get into what I paid. But first, let's get in the car and head over to this collection. All right, guys, we're almost here. Going to look at a collection, 3, 4, 5 long boxes or so, a short box, 2, and we'll go through a box or two and then pull some keys and talk about what we pulled. We'll talk price and get into it. All right, guys, so we are flipping through some books here. It looks, I believe it was 4 long boxes, 1 short box. And we're going to go through just 1 long box so you guys have an idea of what was really in here. A lot of 90s Marvel, and there's some Valiant. And there was some Image in here. Not the grandest of collections, but going in, it was some 90s stuff, all this kind of stuff. A lot of bulk, and we are going to go through almost literally every $5 plus book that I found in this collection. Literally every single one. Or just about everyone. So it's got some 90s X-Men in there. We saw some Excalibur. We saw some Valiant. No Image yet, but there was some Image. He had some of the right titles, but not necessarily the right books. And you see all this 90s, X-Men. I think the best X-Men book, and I don't remember, and we will get into it in a little bit, but I think the best X-Men book that came out of here was like the first Bishop. No first Jubilee, no first Gambit, none of the the good Annual 14, nothing like that. There you go, Ren and Stimpy. Some more Marvel, some Hulk. Well, there you go. That's not too shabby there. Future Imperfect. And we're going to get into, all right, so there's some Morbius, and I believe we get into some Moon Knight. Hold on, I may be lying. There you go, some Darkhold. I think the first 5 or 6 issues, and all right, some Night Stalker stuff. I mean, does this box not scream 90s? Hellstorm. There we go. All Spirits of Vengeance. I thought we got into some Ghost Rider. It makes sense, wouldn't it, if it was all right here with this stuff? Oh, there you go. Some Ghost Rider. So there was the first cameo Midnight Suns, first full appearance Midnight Suns in there. So those are some good books. We'll get into those a little later as well. A lot of Wolverine, but the same Wolverine books that everyone in the 90s had. Nothing great. Oh, speaking of 90s. Oh, I think we have a first Omega Red in here. Yeah, there we go. Direct edition on newsstand. So this is a longer video and I do apologize, but I did want to, there's a reason, I wanted to show basically everything in here that I could. And it is because this is the perfect kind of collection to buy for a first-time buyer. And I'll explain all that in a little bit. Look, some X-Force. That's the second Deadpool right there. But they printed the hell out of these books. Is the first Domino in there? I may have missed it. I don't even remember. X Factor 1, and then it gets back to the 90s. I believe there was a first Apocalypse, like an absolute utter reader's copy. Do we see Bishop? Let's see. Does Bishop make an appearance? Drum roll. Oh, we're into New Mutants now. And then Cable Solo series. Ay, ay, ay. There you go. That's a nice book now. Daredevil Nomad. I mean, look at this. Some 90s Daredevil, some 90s Punisher, some Nomads. Oh, man. I've come across collections like this time and time again. They're not all big, giant, home run, thousands of dollar collections, guys. It's a lot of this. A lot of this. And I try to show literally every collection that I go and look. Whether I take it home or not, I'm recording, and I want you guys to see it. They can't all be winners. So some Punisher Warzone. Some Nomad, some Punisher, more Punisher, Punisher Armory. Some Night Thrasher, some good stuff. And, you guys can definitely click ahead here. Because it's not going to get much better than this. Doesn't mean it was a horrible collection at all. You just kind of saw one box, and this is basically what this whole collection was full of. This kind of stuff. Again, 90s, bulk, where you do find your $10, $20, $30 book. I don't think the biggest book in here was more than 40 or 50 bucks, but we are going to get into it very shortly. Very shortly. Ay, ay, ay. All right, guys, so just got here. Actually, just leaving here. Picked up some stuff, really excited. And people are staring at me because I'm recording. This guy's trying to make a left and doesn't have his blinker on, so what are you gonna do? Some 90s stuff, we're gonna go over it. Nothing to write home about, as in no retirement books, as I like to say. No big grails, but some nice $10, $20, $30 stuff. We will go over it. And I met my buddy Erod. You guys know Erod. Had to pick up all those fancy ASM books from Ray from Carolina. So those will be going off to CGC too. But first, let's get home and break this thing down. All right, guys. So you saw a long box. Basically, there was, I believe, 4 long boxes and 1 short box. So of all of that, I was able to pull out essentially 1 short box of value stuff where I kind of value it $5 or $10 or higher. Some of this stuff are mini-series. For example, I'm looking over there because I have some aside. Deadpool, The Circle Chase, that was in there. Venom, Lethal Protector, 1 through 6 was in there. Batman Nightfall, all 19 of those books. Actually, number 19 of the run had 2. Has that foil. Batman number 500 come in like a couple different covers. So those were both in there. That was it for those mini-series. Oh, a Secret Wars 2. The full run of that. But other than that, this was the big stuff that was worth mentioning. So I'm just going to kind of pull out some books. And again, this is the perfect example of the stuff I was buying when I first broke in and started doing this. Spawn number 9. This is a direct edition. This is the first Angela. We're going to go through a lot of these, so be patient. This is Youngblood number 2. The pink titled cover. This is the first appearance of Prophet. He's got a movie coming, Jake Gyllenhaal. So that's a nice book. A lot of $10, $15, $20 books. Venom Lethal Protector, number 1. Stuff like this. A lot of 90s. You got the Silver Spider-Man, number 1. Spider-Man 2099, number 1. A couple of these. And most of these books, if not all of these books, not the doubles, obviously, were actually read. Okay, they were handled. Here's an X Factor number 1. A $10 book. It adds up. Here's maybe the most expensive book in the entire collection. Now, you've seen me pick up some monster collections, okay? But again, this is the perfect example of how to start. And here is the most expensive book in this entire collection. This was Static number 1. This is maybe a $50 book in this condition. It is still polybagged, but the polybag has a little bit of a pull in it. So maybe $35 to $40 for that, maybe. A couple Simpson #1s. You got to find the right person for some of this stuff. A lot of 90s. There's some miscellaneous Bronze Age Spideys in here. Just, issue 185, Beat to Hell reader's copy. 170, 172, 151, 127. So the first Rocket Racer is in here. This is the first Morbius. This is the reprint, though. You see the gold, silver background. Let's see, a couple ASM Venom covers. Nothing to write home about. Maybe $10 if you can get $10. Web of Spider-Man #1 newsstand, but there's a lot of spine ticks on it. This book was red. So here, these are cool, though. These kind of go together. Ghost Rider 28 and 31. This is that Midnight Suns. First appearance of Midnight Suns. Some X-Men stuff. We've all seen this book, Omega Red. This comes in every single collection from the 90s. I think it's mandatory that X-Men #4 and X-Men #1, one of or more of the covers have to come in a 90s collection. Have to do it. Let's see what else is worth mentioning. Dark Claw #1. And if you guys are still sticking around, I appreciate it. But I'm trying to give you as many books as possible to show you. This collection wasn't crazy. Azrael. Spider-Man Maximum Clonage. This is the Alpha and Omega covers. Little stuff. Nothing from this collection is going to CGC. That as well. Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from the 90s. 1990 newsstand. This is not really that big of a deal. New Mutants #1 in pretty good shape. Still not going to CGC though. Not worth it. X-Force #2, second Deadpool. I have a bajillion of these. I think they made like a trillion of them. So same with this book. $5 book, maybe a $10 book. Return of Superman. That's Batman, Superman Adventures, I believe 500. Yep, 500. Adventures of Superman 500. They're both polybagged, which is great. Batman Adventures #1. Again, a little beat up. Hopefully you guys are kind of seeing the trends here. $10 here, $20 there. It adds up, but it's not an easy it's not you're not getting your money back quick. All right, this is here's first Victor Zsasz. This is not a quick flip. Let me get my money back fast and move on. No, this is going to take a while. Especially, I'll let you know at the end what I paid. Here's a whole bunch of Lobo stuff. 1990s Lobo. Bishop. First appearance of Bishop here. Newsstand, which is nice. But again, these books were red, and you can tell they were red. Here's a couple of good ones. Here's a few good Wolverine books. So here we go. Let me do all this. So we got Mr. Fix-It here, Wolverine 8, 8, 50, $5, $10, 75, $5 or $10. This is probably the most expensive of the Wolverine books, #88 in its condition. It's probably like a 9.2. Wolverine 100. The nice hologram. That's fun. This should have been the most expensive book in the collection, but it's a major reader's copy. This is a X Factor 6, First Apocalypse, in a newsstand reader's copy. Beat up. I mean, maybe it's $10 or $15. It's kind of like if I do an auction with a whole bunch of X Factor books, you throw that one in as like a free throw-in. You have the X-Men 25 hologram, and then people like X-Men 24 because of the cover, and people like X-Men 26 because of the cover. Hopefully, again, you guys are seeing a trend here. There's nothing here that's going to CGC. There's nothing here that's like, oh, there's an expensive book. Here's the first Weasel. $10 maybe. Spectacular Spider-Man, 200. $7. Maybe 10. We're going to get through all these. Thanks for sticking around. If you do, What If Hulk Killed Wolverine? Maybe 15. 20 at best. Another Spectacular, 200. Web of Spider-Man 100. Look at how fun for the holograms, huh? 375. First Anne Wayne. 362, 363 newsstands. This is the second and third appearance of Carnage in the newsstands. Actually, I don't know if it's the third. He may appear in a different title. Some extra Lethal Protector books. Number 4. Nice book. If it's $20, maybe. Ren and Stimpy number 1. Ren and Stimpy 6 with Spidey. Again, here's another Lethal Protector number 3. So you just kind of, you put the Lethal Protectors aside until you get the whole run, which he did have the whole run. These are just extras. You put them aside, and then after a few collections, you put the whole run together and move it. Spider-Man Unlimited 1. Here's a bunch of Maximum Carnage books. So there's 14 books in this run. I've got number 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So you know what you do? You put them aside, and the next collection you buy, you may get a few more, and you start piecing together the entire run. But that's it. Those are the best books. Everything else is being bulked out, sold in bulk, cheap stuff just to move it. And these are the books that'll appear in a Whatnot auction or our live auctions on YouTube, or they just turn into box stock and they're individually priced. No wall books here, no CGC caliber books here. You know, some are if they were in great condition, but they're not. So, what did I pay for this? Now, you guys know I always like to double up. That's the goal. So maybe, kind of take a mental note. What did you think was in here? The other stuff I told you that was in the collection, I'll give you 5 seconds and I'll let you know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So what I paid for this collection, $300. All right. Hopefully I can get 6. If I'm really, really lucky, and I mean really lucky, I can maybe get $750. But that's selling everything. That's moving everything for $10 here, $20 there. I'd much rather sell one book for $500. That's not happening in this collection, guys. But again, at the end of the day, this is the perfect first type of collection to buy. I told you I started doing this with $400 in my pocket. Well, $300 would have gone to this. I would have taken my time with this collection, sold it slowly through Instagram and other outlets, maybe brought back $400, maybe $500, put it back in the account for the comic books, and then maybe I can go find another collection. But this is the perfect example of what it's like to start 90s collection, $300 out of your pocket. Takes a little bit of work. I had to bag and board all these. I'm going to have to post them and all that. But, that's how you make the money. That's how you do it. You just keep flipping. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you seen collections like this? Because this has just got 90s written all over it. I mean, the only kind of stuff from the 90s I didn't see in here that I always like, Amazing Spider-Man 361, First Carnage, X-Men 266, First Gambit. What other 90s stuff do I use? Batman Adventures 12 would have been nice. First Harley Quinn, stuff like that. First Deadpool, First Cable, these books like that, but nothing of that caliber. If I got really, really risky, I might be able to send some of the Venom Lethal Protector #1s in for a 9.8 pre-screen. If they hit 9.8, awesome. They're $150 a piece. If they don't, now I just got charged like $8 or something for a failed 9.8, and now it's just easier to sell these ones raw. But that's it, guys. Hopefully this helps anyone who's looking to try to do this in the beginning. Just start out. I can't stress enough. This is the perfect first collection to buy. If you only have a few $100 in your pocket, you can come across something like this, but you're not going to make your money back quick. A lot of work to turn this and double your money. A lot of work to turn this into $600. That's it for this, guys. Again, I want to hear from you in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, keep it comics.